Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today we're diving into a mystery that has been buzzing through every green room, comment thread, and backstage corridor of Turkish showbiz. It's the kind of whisper that starts with a raised eyebrow and ends with 1,000 theories. We're talking about the surprise question Sinem Ünsal asked Ozan Akbaba. One brief moment, one unexpected line, and suddenly the entire entertainment world is trying to figure out what, exactly, she said that made him pause, blink, and smile like he'd just been tugged back into a memory he wasn't ready to revisit. If you're anything like us, you've been drawn to their magnetism for a while now. Ozan, with that commanding presence and quiet intensity, an actor who doesn't just enter a room, he shifts the energy of it. And Sinem, bright and disarmingly genuine, a leading lady whose warmth reads as effortlessly on camera as it does when she's bantering with fans. Together, they've been that pairing people can't stop watching, whether it's on a stage, in a brief on-camera moment, or sharing a mic where their timing lines up like two pros who just know how to play off each other. It's a chemistry you don't teach, you just catch it when it happens. Before we pull back the curtain on this riddle, a quick reminder. If you're new here, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a scoop from Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Your support keeps us chasing stories, connecting dots, and bringing you the moments that make this world so addictive to follow. Now, let's get to the heart of it. The question Sinem posed to Ozan has become the kind of enigma that spins endless speculation precisely because no one will go on the record about the exact words. What we do have is the setting. An event with cameras nearby but not fully rolling, a backdrop buzzing with award night nerves and backstage logistics, and a casual exchange that wasn't planned or polished. Sinem, leaning in with that mischievous poise she uses when she's about to say something worth remembering, and Ozan, who's used to anticipating everything, suddenly not anticipating this. What could she have asked? Was it something personal, a daring little truth tossed into a very public place? Was it career-driven, a pointed nod to what they once created together or almost created together? Was it about a moment between them that the public never got to see, the kind of off-camera instant that only two people share, and never admit out loud? To understand the weight of that possibility, you have to remember why so many people care when these two share a moment. Think back to the times they stood side by side and made audiences lean forward. A campaign spot that felt more like a scene than an ad. A stage appearance where their back and forth had the ease of actors who'd run lines together for weeks. A panel where their laughs came half a beat too quickly and their glances seemed to carry inside jokes no one else could decode. None of this is a confirmation of anything, and yes, they kept things professional, but the energy was undeniable. Fans noticed. Fans always notice. And the fandom doesn't forget. When edits of their moments together started climbing in views, when comments began to sound like a chorus, do they know how they look at each other? You could feel something building. Rumors came and went, as they always do. Were they ever more than colleagues? Did those looks mean anything off the clock? Nothing official ever surfaced, and maybe that's why every tiny interaction becomes a headline. Mystery is gasoline. Back to that question. What's been circulating isn't the exact wording, but the effect it had. The story, repeated just enough times by people who claim to have been within earshot, is that Sinem dropped a line that grazed a tender edge, maybe not a wound, exactly, but a place where memory lives. Something she went playful with a double meaning, something that sounded harmless but landed with history. Others are convinced she asked for an honest answer to a real feeling, no cushion, no comedy, just the shortest route between two people who know each other well enough to risk a moment. Picture it. She leans in, eyes bright. He's relaxed but alert. Then the question. Maybe it was as soft as, do you still believe in love at first sight? Or maybe she went work-related, but with a sting, what do you miss most about us on set? There's another theory, one fans love because it sounds like the line only they could say to each other. Do you ever think about what we didn't get to finish? That could be a scene, a project, a feeling, who knows? But it suggests something that exists half in public and half in that private space where two people keep their own timeline. What did he do? The story goes that Ozan blinked, like his mind had flashed backward. A small pause, the kind that tells you whatever she said found its mark. Then he smiled, one of those careful, closed-mouth smiles that can mean anything and nothing all at once. He didn't deflect with a joke, at least not immediately. He didn't look away. He sat with it, and that is what fueled the fire. That's what makes these moments irresistible. They crack the performance veneer just enough to show the human underneath. We wonder about the conversations that happen once the red light isn't on, the questions that take a little courage to ask, and the answers that live between words. Ozan and Sinem, by virtue of how compelling they are together, can create headlines by sharing a glance. Put an unexpected question into that mix, and you can practically hear the internet refresh. And remember, people at their level live under a microscope. Every frame is overanalyzed, every laugh rewound and slowed down. A spontaneous question at a semi-public moment becomes a national pastime. Was it playful with a punchline hiding in the middle? Or was it soft and serious, the kind of question that sounds like closure, or an opening, depending on the day? If you were in Sinem's shoes and had a chance to ask one thing of the man who has shared your most electric public moments, what would you say? You'd probably ask something that reveals a truth he wouldn't give in a generic interview. And if that man is Ozan? The actor known for holding his cards so close that even his silences feel choreographed, any direct question becomes radioactive. Some unconfirmed voices suggest she framed it not as a challenge but as a curiosity, a question about how he remembers them, not as a trending topic, but as two people who learned each other's rhythms. Imagine her saying, with a teasing flicker in her eyes, "Ozan, did you ever feel like our chemistry was a little too real?" Or, with a steadier tone, "Is there anything about us you wish we'd handled differently?" These aren't accusations, they're invitations. They ask for the kind of answer that might change nothing and still change everything. Now, let's talk about that smile. Was it a reflex, a way to keep things light and uncontroversial? Was it nostalgia? Was it relief, like someone had finally said out loud what had been floating between them for ages? It's all guesswork, of course, but the smile has become the breadcrumb the story clings to. With performers like these two, a single expression becomes a Rorschach test for an entire fandom. We should pause here and acknowledge the reality of this ecosystem. Rumors are a currency. Stories get stretched. Eyewitnesses remember things differently, and a detail repeated often enough begins to sound like a fact. But it's also true that every loud rumor usually starts from a small true thing, a seed that was real even if the branches grew wild. The partnership between Ozan and Sinem, whatever you choose to call it, caught fire with the public because it felt authentic in a way you can't fake. It's worth noting how quickly their names trend when they share space. A reminder of why people care, there was a moment when their dynamic took over timelines. Edits, fancams, threads with frame-by-frame analysis of touches, looks, timing. They didn't promise a love story. They didn't promise anything. But they gave the audience something to feel, and that's the one thing fans never put down. So where does that leave this question? It could be a friendly wink, a callback to an inside joke that only two people understand. It could also be something more. A quiet attempt to close a loop that never got tied off, or maybe, just maybe, to tug on a loose thread and see if anything unravels. The lack of clarity is what makes it powerful. We don't know what happened next, and that's why we can't stop talking about it. To me, the idea that Sinem would dare to ask Ozan a question with that much charge says everything about what exists between them, regardless of labels. It suggests comfort and bravery, the kind you only have with someone who knows where your boundaries actually are. It also says they respect each other enough to risk a live wire moment without fear it'll become a tabloid mess, though of course, it did, because that's the nature of this world. And both of them have thrived on their own paths. Ozan has been carving out that rare place where the audience trusts him to carry the heaviest scenes without saying a word. Sinem has mastered the art of invitation, every performance feels like she's letting you in without ever letting the work get too self-conscious. So when these two orbit close again and a question slips through, It reads like a salute to a shared history neither has to define to acknowledge. So what did she ask? The only honest answer is, we don't know. The exact sentence remains between them and the few people who were close enough to hear it, and those people aren't talking. But the effect. The pause, the smile, the way that one moment ricocheted through the industry, tells us it mattered. Maybe not in a way that will change the course of their lives, but in a way that confirms what many have suspected, that something about them together is real, even if it only exists in the spark of a memory. We've walked through the theories. We've looked back at why their pairing hit so hard when it happened and why people still hold their breath when they're in the same frame. We've talked about how fame turns small moments into battlegrounds for interpretation, and how even the gentlest question can echo when the right people are in the room. Now it's your turn. What do you think Sinem asked Ozan? Was it a playful nod to a scene they never got to shoot, or a line brave enough to ask for honesty in public? Tell us what your gut says. Drop your theories in the comments, this space lives for your imagination. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery with us, tap like, share this video with your fellow fans, and make sure you're subscribed to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. We've got more deep dives, more backstage whispers, and more stories that challenge the surface of what you think you know. Thank you for spending your time with us. Until next time, keep your eyes on the details and your ears open for the questions that say more than answers ever could. See you in the next one.